Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. It's hard to believe that there's much of a life after someone commits a crime. Society, TV, and after school specials make it sound like if you mess up badly enough, that you'll never have a real chance at success. Could that really be true, though? Crime and success can also go hand in hand, like ponzi schemes, fraud, forgery, and other glamorous felonies that we love to hear about. You'd be surprised, though, how many successful people, even famous people, have pretty substantial criminal backgrounds. All of this leads to the question, once a criminal, always a criminal? Or is there truly rehabilitation? Here's our pick of the top 10 most successful people who were criminals. But before we get started, why not become an archivist today by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. If you end up enjoying this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up and tell us who in the comment section shocked you the most on our list.
Number 10. Mart A. The name Mart A may mean nothing to you, though he's an ex-drug kingpin turned successful CEO after he turned his prison workouts into something people actually wanted. See, after he dropped close to 100 pounds in 6 months, other inmates started asking him for his secrets. Bodyweight exercises are all the hype now, and what better way to do it than instructed by someone accustomed to a 5x5 cell? Once he was released, Mart A founded a New York company called ConBody that teaches group workouts with witty names like Lockdown Wednesday and Hardcore Thursday. People can even stream workouts for $5 a month. Today, Mart A's company makes 6 figures a year. Now, that's taking your record with you in the best way. The earnings may not compare to the $2 million his operation made with illicit businesses, but I think he's okay with that. Number 9. Stephen Collins. The 90s kids in the audience may know Stephen Collins as the father of the perfect American household, Seventh Heaven. He was the perfect father, leader of a church, and always full of great advice. So when around 10 years later allegations came out about inappropriate sexual conduct, the show was ruined for everyone. It all happened after an audio leaked of a therapy session with his then-wife, Faye Grant. In the tape, he admitted sexual abuse of a minor, which he later explained to People magazine as inappropriate but without penetration. He also explained that an older woman had engaged in similar behavior with him between the ages of 10 and 15. The incidents occurred between 1973 and 1994, ending just 2 years before he graced our screens as the perfect dad. Number 8. Frank William Abagnale. Frank Abagnale is the type of guy that movies and series are based on. He's the bad guy that the good guys consult with to catch other bad guys. In fact, the movie Catch Me If You Can was based on his story. Abagnale began as a con man, pretending to be all kinds of professionals and writing millions of dollars in fraudulent checks. Sure, he was caught at one point and served several years in prison, though after his release he became a government superhero, kind of, by cooperating with the government and starting a consulting firm that helps agencies take down fraudsters. A classic story of a smart guy turned bad guy turned good smart guy. Number 7. Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey is eccentric, whether it's his choice of roles in movies, his carefree attitude, or even his criminal charges. While some are charged with sexual assault, battery, or worse, Matthew McConaughey has a record for playing bongos too loud and naked while high on marijuana. Back in the 1990s, he seems to have engaged in some ganja sessions, which then led him to be really into the bongos, which then resulted in loud noises coming from his Texas home. Police showed up at his door and, lo and behold, hours later he was released on a $1,000 bond with suspicion of possession of paraphernalia, and resisting transportation. After a long, successful acting career, a little misconduct that hurt nobody, except the ears of whoever called the cops, isn't the worst thing on our list by any means. Number 6. Danny Trejo. Before playing the bad guy in films and television, Danny Trejo was an actual bad guy, stating himself that he's been in every penitentiary in the state of California. That's no surprise to me. I was petrified of his character in Breaking Bad. Whether that's true or just an exaggeration, who knows, but he definitely was convicted of and served time for several robbery and drug-related charges. He was even at San Quentin, where he became a champion boxer. It seems to have worked out well in the end, though. He started a 12-step program which he believes led to his success. When he gave the fake bad guy a shot in movies, he was, not surprisingly, unnatural. Now, Trejo is just a very successful fake bad guy, and in 2011, he stated he'd been 42 years sober. Way to go, Danny. Number 5. JayZ. Some rappers pride themselves on their hard past. They boast about the shots they fired and taken. Cue 50 Cent picture here. Others, though, plead innocence until the story's blown over. That's the case of super successful rapper, producer, hip-hop mogul, and of course husband of Queen Bee, JayZ. In the late 90s, shortly before releasing his album Volume 3, The Life and Times of S. Carter, the artist attended a party to celebrate Q-Tip and his release of his Amplified album. Things got heated between him and other artists, and tensions rose over the leaking of his album weeks in advance. He ended up in confrontations with several artists at the club and later claimed that Riviera got in his face. That's when JayZ attacked him, stabbing him in the abdomen and arms, for which he was treated at the hospital with no serious injuries. The rapper pleaded innocent, fearful of losing his career, and hired expensive lawyers. Of course, years after it all passed, JayZ made statements about what had happened. First, he said he walked away, but then he found himself going back full force, blacking out from anger. If he hadn't had a second chance, he might not have become nearly as successful as he is now. Number 4. Mike Tyson. A man who chews off ears has to have a criminal record. That's a universal rule. If you're not afraid of biting someone's ear clean off, you're not afraid of pretty much anything. Tyson's criminal record goes beyond ears and back much earlier. He was arrested in the early 90s at age 25 for the rape of an 18-year-old who, after the encounter, saw a medical professional that confirmed her condition was consistent with rape. Tyson was convicted and sentenced to 6 years in prison and 4 years of probation. He served less than 3 years in a correctional facility, during which he converted to Islam, took on the name Malik Abdulaziz, and moved on to more successful and career-building roles. Number 3. Tim Allen. I don't know about you, but when I see Tim Allen's face, I think of Christmas movies and dad jokes. Frankly, I think of wholesomeness. Who would have thought that before he represented all that was good and American, he had served time in Minnesota for drug possession and trafficking? Tim Allen was the OG narco before Netflix caught on. Sure, he wasn't moving millions, just 1.5 pounds of cocaine. After getting caught at the Kalamazoo International Airport, he actually collaborated with authorities to turn in several drug dealers, agreeing to a plea of 5 years in prison, of which he served less than 3. Seems like it was a hard enough scare because, after that, he cleaned up his act and became a successful Hollywood actor, though we can't help but think that the movie Crazy on the Outside, co-starring Ray Liotta, was a callback to his once criminal past. Number 2. Oscar Pistorius. Number 2 found success before he found crime. You may not know who Oscar Pistorius is, but he's got quite the story. He was a successful South African Olympian sprint runner known for very little besides being, well, athletic. On the other hand, he was also charged in the unusual death of his girlfriend. She was, he admits, shot to death by the Olympian, though he says he mistook her for an intruder. Oscar shot through a bathroom door 4 times, killing the woman during an alleged anxiety attack. After an evaluation of his psyche was done mid-trial, he was still found liable for the tragedy. He was found guilty and received a sentence of a maximum of 5 years for culpable homicide. He was released in 2015 and probably lives a normal life now. Number 1. Will Smith. Will Smith today is the guy who, for his 50th birthday, bungee jumped out of a helicopter into the Grand Canyon and aired it for us here on YouTube. Before that, he was making inspirational videos, and before being a movie star, gained fame on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and in his music career. Talk about a success story. But did you know that he also has a violent criminal record? From this list, it seems like the 80s and 90s were a good time to commit a pre-success crime. Smith was arrested in 1989 after he was accused of a violent altercation between him and a man he allegedly beat until he was left almost blind in one eye. The actor was only 20 years old when charged with aggravated assault, criminal conspiracy, simple assault, and recklessly endangering another person. Will spent a night in jail in Pennsylvania, waking up frequently to sign autographs. What a night that must have been. The case was later dismissed, and now he's the laid-back Hollywood cool dad we've all grown to know today. Thanks for watching. Why not become an archivist today by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads? If you enjoyed this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up and tell us who in the comments section shocked you the most on our list.